Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to the TFT Perspective. Viewers, so after a very long time, Israel has finally responded for the Iranian attacks that took place on 1st October inside Israel, with the launch of multifarious ballistic missiles and hypersonic missiles. Reportedly, there have been blasts that have heard in Tehran as well as specifically in the northern region of Iran. And according to some analysts and some reports, it suggested that the Israeli forces, including the American forces, used the Iraqi airspace as well as the Jordanian airspace in order to deploy their cruise missiles or beyond visual range missiles that were specifically targeting specific military facilities inside Iran, including some missile production facilities as well as barracks. But on ground, the attack, which took place at around 3 a.m. local time in the early hours of the morning, reports suggested that there was very minimal damage. And reportedly, what the Iranian defense forces as well as the defense ministry is claiming is that Air Force was not used, BVRs were not launched. In fact, most probably some drone strikes did occur in the region. What the Iranians are calling this is of minimal damage in response to what the Iranians actually did. Now, the big question lies that it has been almost 27 days since the attacks by Iran took place against Israel. Israel has responded. We mentioned reports concerning Israeli Prime Minister actually overseeing the entire attack himself, and they said that they have achieved a big outcome of this entire scenario, and that they have paralyzed of the Iranian military or whatsoever, and that Israel had the right to self-defense, as they claim always. We have with us Mr. Vakar Kekorvi. First, we are going to see a video in which the entire onslaught took place. Please do watch this.
This is the map of the Middle East, in which you can see Israel on the west and Iran on the eastern side. And this has also now become the theater of operation for the current reported airstrikes by Israel. So far, the news is that there have been some explosions in Iran, and Israel is claiming, as done by their military spokesperson, that they had struck in the wee hours of today, and most probably it was before Fajr prayer, somewhere at 3 a.m. Now, if you look at the flight paths of the air activity that we picked up from different resources or sources, they have been flying by US and Israeli aircrafts on the Jordanian-Iraq border. And then most of the activity is north of Baghdad. It means the Kurdish areas. So the areas where you have US Air Force flying is and Israeli Air Force is south of Erbil, then north of Baghdad, and then probably these are the launch pads, because Israel is claiming that they were Air Force for use and not drones and missiles. Whereas Iran is claiming that they were neither Air Force nor ballistic missiles or cruise missiles, so most probably drones are used. But so far the activity is shown here. Now, as far as strikes within Syria are concerned, two places have been struck. This includes Damascus, and then there is some military installation at As-Suwaida. This is in southern Damascus. Now, if you come to Iran itself, there have been reports of explosions or strikes in Zanjan, where there is, I think, some military installation. And most of the strikes have taken place in and around Tehran. So these are basically in area of Karaj, west of Tehran, where basically there is military installation of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Then there were few barracks in the areas southwest of Tehran, where IRGC facilities, missile facilities are reported. And then one was right in Tehran itself. So all told, this is the latest situation. It is still a developing situation. Both sides are claiming, and we'll see it how it figures out in the coming days.
So, Mr. Wakar, as far as the attacks go, you mentioned that some airspace cover was used specifically over the Iraqi Kurdistan. Do you believe this took place because the current Iraq government doesn't have as much control over that region, particularly, as per reports citing on different news outlets? They're suggesting that American and Israeli forces aircrafts were moving in that particular area, close to Erbil, in northern areas of Baghdad.
Yeah, I think this has some merit. If you look at the reports, we're coming from different intelligence sources, the open sources. Probably they have been able to sneak along, avoiding, I think, even Jordanian airspace in full. So probably it's along, initial travel was along Jordanian and Syrian border, and then they entered, northern portion of Iraq. Now, you must also know that US has bases in Syria, and US has bases in Iraq also. And by and large, northern Iraq, which is held by the Kurds, there is limited control by the Iraqi government. We have seen even Turkey striking northern Iraq. So it means even, let's say, Peshmerga or PKK operates from there, and they have backing from CIA. So maybe this was, I think, one corridor which was identified. Now, if you look at the, let's say, Iranian aircraft which were scrambled for air defense, they were also flying in the same regions, probably.
Yeah, closer to Sanandaj, as you mentioned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, close to Sananda. So most probably it has been, but since I think the conflicting reports are coming from both sides. I am sure in this time of post-truth, both sides would claim, let's say, victory or success. But if you look at the targets engaged, mainly in the north, as you mentioned. So we have, I think, a list of targets. They also struck Syria. So you have Sweda and Damascus. Sweda is in the south of. So most probably these were the IRGC facilities as claimed by Americans and Israelis. And within Iran, then you had Zanjan, Kharag, which is west of Tehran. And mainly targets were either inside Tehran or on the western side. And there we know that there are facilities of IRGC missile facilities.
Apparently, if you look at Erbil, from that, the distance is around 600 to 700 kilometers. So that does mention that BVRs or maybe cruise missiles were used if they were launched from Air Force in that region.
Yeah, I think this is again a critical point, that what kind of missiles may have been used. Now we know that Israel has their own capacity or capability of ballistic missiles. Jericho, which is a long range, which can cover very effectively even up to, I would say Afghanistan and Pakistan. But as far as their air-launched cruise missiles are concerned, there are, I think, three. One is Gabriel, then you have Delilah, and now they have, I think, in June this year introduced a new missile which is known as Wind Demon. And we are not very sure about the range, but it said that's probably plus of 300 kilometers. So if you look at the targets engaged in Iran, they are at 200, 400, and then 630 is the maximum, like Tehran. And if you include, let's say, even Tomahawk missiles, which are air-launched, so maybe the US was may have provided to them. So because F-16s, I think, they can fire, like Babur cruise missile can be fired by Air Force. So in case it is being said that because Israel also mentioned there was a package of aircrafts, and we also, I think, in the last video did discuss the corridors which could be utilized, and this was one of the corridors identified that in case they want to use, they got to be a huge package of aircrafts with interceptors, with air defense, and then strikers.
And previously, the US had already redeployed their THAAD system, and including deployed 30,000 troops further inside Israel. After the attack, there were news circulating concerning that.
Maybe the number of troops.
Batteries of THAAD was increased.
Yeah, batteries are there, but number of troops we don't know. But there's also very interesting report, and I think I'll just go through one of the tweets by a NATO pilot. So this is interesting because then that indicates that probably
there is confirmed presence of NATO.
Yeah, because this was being pointed out that there was some Captain Daniel Alwan who I think 2 or 3 days back posted a tweet and then deleted it, and he said that I am there to protect the Holy Land. So it means not only US, it could be NATO itself also taking part, but we are not very sure because US has very clearly said that we are out of it. And yes, as far as defense of Israel is concerned, they have provided THAAD batteries and all that. So now look at the other targets in Iran. You have Fatah camp,
Mm-hmm.
then you have Qadri barracks, Falak barracks, and then IRGC facility at Sani Khani. So it means that probably these were military targets.
Mm-hmm.
And if both sides are claiming, like Israel said that we have finished the operation,
Yeah.
like Iran also said that it means that nothing more is coming. Maybe they have calculated because I think Biden also mentioned that targets have been selected, and we have told them not to strike, energy infrastructure or nuclear sites. So probably there may be some truth in that. There is to be a bomb damage assessment done by the Iranians, and I'm sure the U.S. and Russians and Chinese satellites will pick it up. So things would be out, I think, in next 24 to 48 hours. It's premature to really substantiate which claim is true, but I'm sure.
But on ground, there is no mention of any human cost of life, or even there's one particular building which has been, which we keep on seeing in videos. It's a burning building. Other than that, military infrastructure or anything, because previously when the Iranians did launch their attacks against Israel, we could see on ground the exact targets of that location, the Nevatam air base and other areas, and there were reports of mentioned that yes, hangars were also targeted. In fact, Air Force hangars were targeted. So in that sense, if news circulating inside Iran or even outside Iran suggests some story otherwise, and as far as new reports are coming up, Iran is very much downplaying this attack. In fact, from their social media response, they're saying that whatever the Israelis did was less than fireworks, I would say.
Yeah, it is. I think there are a lot of memes which have come up. So I'll just go through some of the. One tweet by Lev Lashkaris, shows basically life in Iran looks fine. So they've shown traffic flying on Tehran's main.
I mean, air traffic control. They
Yeah.
just immediately relaunched their civil aviation at 8:30. I mean, the attacks just took place, and after 4 hours, you're saying that.
And even Iraq did it.
Yeah, Iraq also.
Because
did
this
that,
is a
yeah.
very busy route, and we have also traveled to Europe and Turkey through the same route. So very very busy, especially skirting along Iranian and Iraqi border. So we have, I think, some of the interesting tweets, basically saying that, like Press TV said, video shows people in Tehran Laila Park doing their regular morning exercise following Israel claim of attacks. So we've seen old guys and ladies doing some morning walk and exercise. So they are actually making fun of it. And some guy came, with fireworks videos that probably this is what they have done. So let's see. I think after the bomb damage assessment, there is also, I think, interesting tweets by the American senators and congressmen. I think we must mention it. And it appears that they were woken somewhere. Definitely, if you look at 12 hours gap. So they were fed the tweets like Republican David Kushtoff, America stands with our greatest ally, Israel. Mike Pence, America stands with Israel. Republican Dan Crenshaw, America stands with Israel. Joe Wilson, America stands with Israel and against terrorism. So he's added 2 words. Congressman Kevin Hearn, America stands with Israel, and then Senator James. And there were a couple of more. Just like these senators write regular applications to Pakistan on constitutional amendment or supporting one political party. So I think this is also very interesting to see. But definitely, in case Iran decides to retaliate, it's going to expand because it has affected the oil prices gone up by $2 per barrel immediately.
Mhm.
So it means that it has already disturbed the aviation, let's say, flight paths. We are also listening or hearing the news that most of the Gulf airlines, big airlines like operated by UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia.
In fact, Saudi Arabia has condemned this attack.
Yeah,
There's
Saudi
strong
Arabia has.
possibility,
Yeah, this is, I think, again very significant. So they are taking a longer route. Actually, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, and Turkey airspace is now becoming saturated. You'll see a lot of, because people are trying to avoid, because you don't know what time something turns up in heads of. There's also, I think, important thing to be discussed is how it is linked with the U.S. elections. Because all the military strategists, globally, from different, I think, countries, were saying that Israel is going to choose a time very close to the U.S. elections. Because maybe it impacts the elections itself. And then it gives very less time for Joe Biden. Because, after 5th of November, In case Trump wins,
Hmm.
nobody's going to, I think, even see Joe Biden's face, because then he'll be, a president who will be handing over. So the
Yeah.
process will start. And even Kamala Harris comes, so Joe Biden will be out in any case. So probably last 5 6 days. Uh, how does it benefit?
Yeah. So, if this is true that Israel did strike military targets inside Iran, and if this escalation moves on, what can we witness? Is it going to be them upping the ante against each other in response to all of this, or is it going to stay like this, like response after 20 days, or the windows of time is going to reduce itself?
Yeah, there could be, I think, couple of I don't know how the Iranian leadership would, there was a statement from the Iranian leadership.
Hmm.
I think the military commander of IRGC, that our retaliation will be more intense and all that. And they had also warned Israel that in case it ventures, the next strike would be very hard. So there could be, I think, three scenarios.
Hmm.
One is, as you know, we are reading it, that Iran is trying to downplay it, and Israel also said we have called it off.
Yeah.
So it means that either there was a tacit understanding, or Israel doesn't want it to further escalate, or the US doesn't want it, because it will, I think, take a lot of time. Because there was also mention of before that, I think 2 days back, that a lot of, let's say, Air Force assets from US have already moved to Middle East. Where they have gone, we don't know what basis. But definitely the Arab states have very clearly mentioned, even during BRICS summit, they were cautioned that they should not spoil the, let's say, commercial business, trade, and all that. So I'm sure both sides can't afford. One is that it de-escalates, and then probably, as we mentioned last time, that it remains restricted to, Hezbollah versus Iran, or Hamas versus Iran, or Houthi versus Iran. Number two is that, as you are saying, that Iran decides to, there is internal pressure
Yeah.
by the people, by even the dissidents who are outside. I'm sure.
And especially from the people who are actually fighting on ground, the Hezbollah and Hamas, they would definitely want Iranian support and backing.
Yeah, because they've lost a lot of leaders,
Mhm.
and last time when Iran struck, so there was a lot of morale boosting for the. So the other, I think, scenario could be that Iran retaliates, and retaliates even before the elections.
Mhm.
So it means the next week there is a huge reaction which comes, and then I think it will be, no hold bars. It can escalate and then starts affecting the region, as we have discussed, disrupts the, civil aviation, commercial flying, disrupts the shipping, and the maritime trade. The oil prices go, skyrocket, and then you have, some other, I would say, regional power jumping also, or major power jumping, like Russians are already conducting a maritime exercise. That's why I think this area was avoided.
Mhm.
Because there was a report that probably they could use the North Arabian Sea or the Gulf region. But the way it is being, I think, so far the reports by military analysts indicate that no, most probably it was from northern Iraq and hitting northern Iran.
Mhm.
So this could be another scenario that it could destabilize. And third is that there is a shooting war which starts, and Israel is attacked from all sides simultaneously, because now there are also reports that probably Hezbollah is going to retaliate very massively today.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens in the
I
next.
mean,
20
just yesterday, the huge ambush did took place. Previously, the Israeli ID forces said that around 4 to 5 soldiers died in that skirmish, but now figures are coming up to be 30. So that was inside the Jabalia camp. And another report suggested that Hezbollah was using drones against Israel in the northern areas. So, if the shooting war does arrive, is it going to stick to this, cross-border raids against Israeli forces, or are we going to witness movement of conventional weapons closer to Israel?
Yeah, that's the point. That in case there is a shooting war and it escalates even
Mhm.
more than missile exchange, so it means that you're now seeing ground troops from both sides being able, and then America jumping in, the allies, going bewildered, and Russians coming in, the Chinese coming in. Because I don't know what was talked in BRICS, because a lot of pressure of the BRICS. There's also a factor of what is happening to Israeli soldiers and general public.
Yeah.
There are reports of 14,000 PTSD cases, that is post-traumatic stress disorder. There are reports of 1,200 attempted suicides, in which some of them have died, Israeli soldiers and officers. And there are reports of more than, I think now, 200,000 common Israelis suffering from PTSD, because every time there is a siren, They'll go down, stay inside. So it affects the kids. And then is a huge loss in terms of economy. It is, I think, in multi-billions of dollars. Some people are saying it's already going to, dent the Israeli economy so much that it's going to take a decade to come to where they were. So all told, I think these are some of the implications.
Yeah, I hope so. Sanity does prevail in the region. That's it for today, folks. Please do leave a like and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much for watching us. Bye bye.